What is up, everyone? Victoria Aveyard, The Glass Sword, Book 2 of the Red Queen series. I'll post a link to my review of the first book. Obviously, there's going to be some spoilers for the first book, but I will try to keep most of the review of this spoiler-free, but then I will say when I'm going to start talking about spoilers for the second book. Yeah, so it starts off for the first few chapters basically still in the climax from last book, because if you remember, they're kind of getting out of a bad situation, there's like a pause. That's where the book ends, but they aren't really out of the bad situation yet. But then they do get out of that, and the book kind of starts after that. It feels like that's the start of the book, and like the first part of the book is part of the last book. So yeah, you follow around Mare in first person, as was the last book, and she has kind of similar flaws to last book, but then she's got like trust issues now for obvious reasons. Cal, everyone has trust issues with, and Mare kind of sees herself, definitely sympathetic towards Cal. So by that logic, everyone has trust issues with Mare. And yeah, just trust issues. But I feel like some of those trust issues in certain, interactions and relationships shouldn't matter. Like trust issues with Mare's and her family, and Mare and everyone towards Mare. It didn't seem to make that much sense. As we got going towards like the middle section of the book, that was probably my favorite part of the book, act 2 of the book, I guess, where it seems like they're actually going on the mission that we kind of foresaw them going on at the end of the first book. And then the ending kind of didn't follow with the middle. I don't know. It felt like 3 very distinct acts of this book. 4 if you include like the beginning part where you're still like in the climax from last book. So maybe it felt like a little disjointed. The plot was overall fast-paced, or fairly fast, I would say. A lot of things that happen in this book are weird. Just interactions and like how the antagonist and protagonist interact doesn't make sense to me. If they can interact in the ways that they have been interacting, I feel like the antagonist didn't make sense really to the extent which we saw them. The magic system was pretty cool, like good additions, good different powers that were unique. Oh, and also the end of this book definitely sets up the next book better than the first book set up this book. I don't know. You guys can probably tell I'm not super high on this book. Maybe like 2.5 stars I'll give it. It definitely was less interesting than the first book. I'm still optimistic for the next book, but if I don't like the next book, I probably won't read the fourth book because it's a pretty large book. And so yeah, here. First book, second book, third book, fourth book. Fourth book looks like twice as large as like the first books. But yeah, it's written in the same cinematic style, which is pretty cool, I would say, but in a few points I kind of just don't like it. It feels like there's terms like when someone's like grossed out or uncomfortable or like skeeved out, Mare uses the term, "It made my skin crawl," and like everything's making her skin crawl. And it feels almost more like stage direction than writing, just with like the consistency of some of those sort of like go-to, emotional reactions or whatever. All right, yeah, I'm just going to quickly talk about spoilers. One, when they meet John, who like tells them everything that's going on, it basically changes what they're doing from rescuing people to, oh, hey, we're going to do like a jailbreak now. Shade dying, I don't know. Her and Mare didn't seem that close. It felt like Mare was like thinking about how they used to be close in the past, but they weren't like, I don't know. It like wasn't shown to me. It was like told to me. But yeah, I mean, I liked Shade, so, and his power was pretty cool. The Queen dying. The Queen was like a great villain. Like, she was the Cersei Lannister. So, like, we're going to miss having the queen. Oh, yeah, and then the ending, there's, like, I forget what they're called. But, like, the other group that's kind of against the Silvers reveals themselves. So, we'll see how they fit into all of everything. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see Mare in the King's Cage, because that's when, like, the first book was firing on all cylinders, when Mare was, like, behind the enemy lines, and there was, like, a lot of intrigue involved with that. But the third book, obviously, will be different than the first book. Mare is going to, like, start in jail, right? So, I don't know. But, yeah, that might be more interesting than the kind of, like, disjointedness of this second book. We'll see, though. But, yeah, that's everything. Like, comment, subscribe. See you next time. Bye.